I prefer promoter-owned companies.
Let me take another crack at this one, and I mean this genuinely. I agree with Sunil that I would prefer a promoter-run company, but it's an able promoter-run company, not a disabled promoter-run company. So the single most important thing in my mind with promoters, and I've gone through both multiple family businesses and advised on multiple family businesses, invested in multiple family businesses, as if there is an alignment in skills and what the company needs, there's nothing better than a promoter-run company because you have the best alignment that anything you'll get globally. However, if there's pressure on you from your father or your grandfather, and your real passion is in video games or whatever else it might be, then you're the inappropriate person to run it, or you don't have the skill set, in which case, there's nothing wrong in managing the CSR of the family. So the separation of ownership and management is critical. If the management as an owner, you are very skilled, and I can give you 100 examples of people who are very skilled, by all means, the alignment is perfect and you have longevity, right? But you should have the wisdom as a family council that if you're not able to, the issue comes not when you're properly aligned, the issue comes when you're disabled or you're not the right guy to be running it and you insist on running it. That's what we should be avoiding. When it comes to this is related a bit also to your question, which you implied. When someone does an IPO, we actually encourage our portfolio companies, if it's family owned, take some money off the table. We'll actually help you invest that also. Not in our funds, outside of our funds, right? Because it lets you sleep well at night. For me, it's not a science, it's an art. What is the promoter exiting when he's an IPO? It's perfectly, I mean, what I tell people who criticize this is, don't think of the money taken off the table. Think of the money which remains on the table. Nah? Look at it glass half full, not glass half empty. But if the money taken apart makes you fat and lazy, and the drive for innovation or the hunger for business goes away, that's a call that we need to make. But if it's done to buy a bigger house, by all means, buy a bigger house, get a fancy car. But if that fancy car drives your attitude to work, then I'm worried. But if a fancy car is sitting in your driveway and you want to take it out your girlfriend in it, that's perfectly legit. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. But I would just say the reasons for selling, when you're downselling, but more importantly to your question, if there is alignment, I agree with Sunil. But the problem in India, not why India, anywhere in the world, is when there's misalignment comes through.
Love it, sir. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
I think I will add to it, being from the promoter side and having done some liquidity event in both the IPOs. So I can tell you very well that the alignment, we discussed about the alignment and the goal of the investor in general and the promoters. So for the promoter also, the company is the baby which, they have spent so much of time with. And there are very, very few events in the life of a company or a promoter when they get a chance to, make some liquidity event, and it should be done. And now the market have started to realize and appreciate this, because as a promoter, if you're putting your sweat and blood into a company, then you need cash at times to be able to look into and stabilize your own family. So there's nothing wrong about it. And I also agree with Manish and Sunil that first of all, I'm happy that Sunil is so much in favor of connecting with the promoter driven company. So I'm meeting you very, very soon. But but this, there's nothing wrong with this kind of liquidity event, because the promoter is someone who is passionate about his business. He is someone who has some 60-70% equity left in the company, and he's looking at a bigger vision. Yes, there has been instances in the past where people have drawn some money and they have lost interest in the business, but that I think are very few instances. Not everyone does the same thing. So there are different kinds of promoters, all set of promoters. So it is important that the kind of energy a promoter can get into a business, the kind of understanding they have, it is far beyond the numbers. The understanding is far and beyond the numbers. So it is a matter of life and death and reputation for a promoter, and they work for the value, for the intrinsic value of the business.
And Manish, sorry, just 1 second. Manishji, sorry to just to add to your point. Touch wood, I've not been forced to join the family business by my father. It's been a personal choice, and hopefully you or him or any of you all can probably decide if I'm actually ready for the alignment.
It's not personal, sorry about that.
No, not at all, not at all. Thank you so much.
So we'll just take one last question. I see one hand going up, and then probably you can, I think the gentleman out there is first to raise his hand, and then probably, during dinner you can ask the remaining ones.
Thank you for the last question. I represent banks, so I've been heading mid-corporate credit for last 20 years. So the first session and this session has been very wonderful. So we have seen, most of you have said, a drastic change in the corporate governance, having good auditors, raising PE and all. So that has helped us, the banks on the credit side, very much in the last 10, 15 years. The only two things which we see sometimes is the promoters sort of, lot of obsession comes with the stock price after they get listed. And even a 25, 30 multiple, that becomes less for them. So that is one thing, so sometimes we worry about that. Secondly, what we see is, because the market values some sectors so aggressively, there's so much overcapacity coming in some of the sectors. And so that becomes a challenge for the banks or the credit side, because they can't get out as fast as the equity investors. So that is, so overall it's been a very good journey, but sometimes some of these things have some negative effects.
So I don't think you have a question there. It's
No,
just your
my
observation.
only
Yeah.
question was to some of the mutual fund investors. I can understand their perspective, but it effectively they are indirectly pressurizing, or I could say somewhere the contours come ki you have to show the quarterly profits irrespective of the industry trends, seasonal effects, and they have to put up capacities because the peers are putting up capacities irrespective whether it's logical in the medium term, long term. So that creates a pressure, maybe not at the top of the cycle, but whenever there is a downturn, industry downturn, and we have seen across sectors.
So I'll kind of add to some part of what you're saying, because we've been in the credit rating industry for a long time. I have not, the cycle where, there was euphoria on adding capacities and taking debt and doing all that is over. It's really over. I mean, we're not seeing that kind of mad rush towards taking credit and building capacities. Now, we see a more measured promoter group, a promoter group which has probably understood the impact of IBC and what it does to their assets. So I don't think we see that, but anybody wants to add some last comments, I'll be happy to kind of give that. Anybody? So I think your points are well taken.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. So over to you, Arunima. Thank you so much, panelists, for a lovely panel.
Thank you so much, everyone. I would request you all to be on stage for a quick group photograph and the mementos. Vijay ji to please come and give the memento to Manish. Yeah. Now I would request Utpal bhai to come and hand over the memento to Vishal ji. Navneet, if you could please come on stage and give the memento to Revati. May I request Nitin ji to come on stage and give the memento to Sunil. And Vijay ji to please come on stage and hand over the memento to Abhishek. And Mahesh, if you could please hand over the memento to Sanjay. Now let's quickly set up the stage for our next fireside fireside chat.